We are back for another part of working from home. Working from home with Katie on your computer all day, every day. Here's a posture that you're in. And let's be honest, you're probably not in this posture all day. It probably ends up being something more like this. Now, you can just look at me and determine how good I look. Well, it's better this or this. Yes, if you chose B, you're right. But still, even with this good posture, I know you can't stay there all day, and you shouldn't. You should want to move. And so that's kind of like the idea that I am trying to get across to people, is that movement is key. It's not just like an idea. It's like a real thing, because humans are intended to move. And when we don't move, our body lets us know by being in pain. That is your cue to move. So if you're here all day, your hip flexors are shortened, you're probably like this. So now my pelvis is rotated, my lumbar spine is flattened, my thoracic spine is extra rounded, my shoulders are forward, my neck is forward. So many things, and I've got no weight going through my legs, and so they're not getting any feedback like a human needs. So we need to give them that feedback, give them some challenge throughout the day, or else they're just gonna, at some point, poop out on you. So if you've been here all day, we're trying to reverse that. So I say, get into a tall kneel. By the way, you can do this also when you're working. Just throw your chair aside for a little while and kneel. Get a pillow or a cushion underneath your knees. And then this is all about the pelvic tilt. And so we don't want to kneel like this or like this. We want to kneel in a perfect posture. Like so. So everything's lined up. My knees, my hips, all the way up to my shoulders and neck. And now this is the actual exercise, is to do a posterior pelvic tilt. So we're trying to like undo what we've done in sitting by pulling forward. And this actually just stretches out our psoas, our deep hip flexor muscle. This alone is all you need for a stretch to that muscle. So as you can see, I am just, here are my hips, right now they're forward. And now I'm rocking them backwards into a posterior pelvic tilt. You can see my back flattened. This is an anterior pelvic tilt where it's curved, posterior. Hold that for like 5 seconds and then relax. And you're gonna do 2 sets of 10 of these. And I would want you to do them all throughout the day, like 4 or 5 times a day if you can. And honestly, if you're working from home and you're like taking calls, there's no reason why you can't do this. Even if you're on a computer and talking to people a lot, you don't have to have your shirt up in the air, but you can be doing this all day long. They don't need to know that you're kneeling. And if they do, who cares? And we want to actually stretch out the hip flexor, and we are going to do a hip flexor stretch. One leg forward. Here's the mistake with this, is people usually pull themselves so far forward. And like I said before, it's just about that pelvic tilt to get your deep hip flexor engaged. So here, I'm just in a half kneel. I'm not in a drastic half kneel or lunge. All we're gonna do is now tilt the pelvis forward again. Or sorry, back. We're doing a posterior pelvic tilt. So see how all I'm doing is just flattening out, coming from here to here. And then you can hold that for like 30 seconds to a minute, 2 minutes. You can lift, rotate away, open all this up, and keep this engaged. Keep your posterior pelvic tilt going. I haven't let that go. Do that about 2 or 3 times. If you want to add in the quad, which is perfectly fine. Do yourself a favor, get a cushion first. Or just roll yourself on top of your quad so you're not right on your patella, and get one of these going. Same thing. I'm still getting into a posterior pelvic tilt, right? I'm not letting myself arch. I'm staying flat, and then when I do that, I get a big stretch right here. And now because you're sitting, your hip flexor is shortened and tightened, and we need to get it strong. And that might sound counterintuitive to some people, but it's because it's shortened now, it's not able to function in like a maximal capacity. So when it's stretched out, it's not able to work well in that place. It's able to work well when you're sitting. So now we have to be good at standing and hip flexion. So super easy. March. Hold on to something probably in the beginning and just watch that you are driving that knee forward and up. Here. All hip flexor. What I see is this. See my foot? And then see here. That's a lot of my hamstring doing that. Like that. And then the band also falls off, and so that's a good sign to me that you're cheating. So you, IAP, core is tight. That's gonna help engage everything and keep you stable as you shift onto one foot and come straight out in front of you with a flexed foot. And that helps to make sure that your hip flexor is engaged in the one doing the work. All right, so have fun with your new hip flexor stretches and strengthening.